in Nanterre, an outer suburb of Paris, where the anger started after last week, Niall.
Many of us, people of color, experience racism, not really feeling French. Like, we feel French, but we're not perceived.
And again, I will say this really quick. People are using, what if foreigners start feeling, hey, the Japanese system is don't like us, we'll start burning down Japan because we feel like they just, even with the tiny little immigration increase in Japan, you're already seeing a lot of problems. So imagine if there was a mass number of people coming to Japan. Japan would look completely different than it does right now. Konnichiwa minasan. Kyo desu. I apologize if I sound weird. I'm a bit sick right now. But recently there have been a lot of rioting in France. Buildings being burnt down, stealing, looting stores. There have been people who would attach chainsaws to motorcycle and ride like madmen throughout the city. So we're gonna cover a video that covers what's going on in France. Excited to watch this video, but before that, guys, just make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
It's summer in Paris, selfie season for the thousands of tourists. But even at these famous sites, police are on patrol, braced for trouble. At night, there's been chaos here on the Champs-Elysees. For days on end, disorder has gripped this country. It was in Nanterre, an outer suburb of Paris, where the anger started after last week, Niall M., a local teenager of Algerian descent, was killed by police at a traffic check. This fire and fury started as a mostly peaceful protest led by the mother of the 17-year-old, a community coming together.
At some point, when you've seen people marching, petitioning, demanding, meetings with the government, and nothing happening for decades, you destroy everything to be heard.
The unrest spread across the country, exposing the deep divisions in French society. In Marseille in the south, buildings were smashed, shops looted, and cars set on fire. More than 3,000 have been arrested, and one night, almost a third of the people detained were teenagers under 18.
Il n'est pas normal qu'un gamin de 13 ans, 14 ans, 15 ans puisse être une nuit d'émeute tout seul en dehors du domicile de ses parents. C'est une faute de ses parents. Le code pénal permet de le réprimer. Une fois encore, à la justice de se mettre en action et à la justice de passer.
Rokhaya Diallo is one of France's most prominent anti-racism campaigners. She is calling for reforms within the police force.
I know where this video is going.
Martin Luther King used to say that a riot is the language of the unheard, and that's what it means to me. The violence comes out of despair.
Oh boy, so left this video.
1,000 police officers were deployed to defuse the violence. The French government vowed to crack down, blaming social media and video games for the behavior.
Really? That's not it. That's not the reason why. Weak leaders, man.
For now, the riots have settled. But in Nanterre, there's still signs of the uproar and fear it will return.
Et voilà, quoi, on est dégoûté, on est fatigué, on comprend pas ce qui se passe. On va dormir, on entend comme des bombes. Mais à part ça, c'est qu'on peut plus sortir, on peut plus dormir. On a peur pour nos enfants.
Niall M. grew up in this working-class neighbourhood. Footage shows the 17-year-old stopped at a traffic check not far from here, where an officer appears to shoot and kill him. He's been charged with voluntary homicide and remains in custody awaiting trial.
C'est pas des lapins, nos enfants. C'est des êtres humains.
I like how they don't tell the whole story. So it seems like there's details being left
Même on
out.
les tape pas. D'où ils se permettent de tuer nos enfants. Donc voilà.
Niall's own family called for the riots to end. They've retreated from the media spotlight. I spoke to their lawyer on the phone, who says they want privacy.
La famille de Naël veut simplement que la justice soit respectée et que le condamné et que le policier soit condamné. Oui, la justice doit passer et la famille souhaite que le policier soit non seulement inculpé mais surtout condamné.
People in this community say they feel a world away from Paris's prosperous city centre.
Many here in these outer suburbs of Paris feel forgotten by their country. There are entrenched issues about education, employment and housing, add in anger about over-policing and discrimination, and those frustrations quickly turn to fury.
Ils sont là sur les plateaux, ils parlent entre eux. Ils vivent pas dans les quartiers. Ils s'occupent pas vraiment des quartiers comme les nôtres.
The case has created a crisis for the French president. The UN urged France to address issues of racism and law enforcement. The powerful police association has rejected this.
Évidemment, l'émotion qui accompagne la mort d'un jeune homme est en elle-même, je dirais, impose le recueillement et le calme, et ce à quoi le gouvernement.
A record high 13 people were killed in France last year during traffic checks, while the country's civil liberties ombudsman found young men perceived to be black or Arab were 20 times as likely to be subjected to police identity checks.
Many of us, people of color, experience racism not really feeling French. Like, we feel French, but we're not perceived as really French as other people. So we're constantly reminded of the fact that we're black, Arabs, Asians, and our citizenship is diminished. The fact that despite all the figures, all the reports, there is no actual response from any of French authorities means that there is no political will to do anything against racism.
The president continues to hold crisis talks and hopes the streets stay quiet. He promised city mayors money to repair the damage. Eric Piole is the Grenoble mayor. He lives near the Italian border.
I was actually at the Chateau de l'Élysée this afternoon for 5 hours with the French president, and there is a total denial of the problem of the police work framework and total denial on the racism question.
What do you make of the French President Emmanuel Macron's response to this unrest?
The message from the president is to say, we've done great, there is no problem of money, no problem of inequalities, it's just that now we need order, parents to take care of their kids, and say, you're just hiding the problem, and so we will face it again.
Yeah, this video is biased, and I really blame America for leading the world in this type of behavior. Here's just a quick montage of the destruction that's been happening in France. Take a look. So you can see it's really bad. I don't know much about French politics, but from this video, I can see they're trying to hit it at the angle of in which a lot of American leftists are doing that in our own country. Because America is so influential, you're gonna start seeing other countries adopt that same kind of mentality. From what I've known, and again, do your own research, don't just believe some guy on the internet, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, a lot of the immigrants that come to France commit a lot of crimes. They commit a lot of theft. So imagine if this specific group is entering your country and they're committing a lot of crimes. Wouldn't you start to believe, hey, if you look a certain way, you probably are the stereotype that you're letting on? Because we've seen plenty of examples of immigrants who come to this country and commit crimes. So it's the same as the BLM riots, in which they feel like the system is against them or the system's unfair. So they have to burn down the whole country because they feel like there's injustice, where people are dying, properties being damaged, people are losing businesses, just chaos. And again, I will say this really quick. People are using an excuse to destroy their own country, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of black people being used as a political pawn for people to go riot and destroy their own countries. I hate it. But the main thing I want to wrap this up in is Japan. I'm really concerned for Japan right now because, like we've talked countless times on this channel, Japan has a lot of economic problems because of the lack of Japanese people creating families and having children. And at one point, I forgot his name, but there was one person who was running a race to become the international prime minister or international relations for Japan. And he was planning on having open borders for Japan. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But what you see happening in France is that you have a lot of immigrants who are coming in, declaring that this is their country, declaring their religion, declaring their nationality in a different country. My thing is, just to say real quick, why are you going to a different country if your countries are perfect? Instead of going to another country to try to take it over, why don't you go back to your own country and go fix it? But see, this is the problem that I see that's going to happen in Japan, in which you have Japanese people who are not patriotic, who don't care about their country, who are not having enough Japanese people to properly populate the country and stimulate the economy. You're gonna get a lot of immigrants that come to Japan and start trying to change Japan into their own country. I wouldn't be surprised if 10, 20 years from now, let's say Japan had open borders, that people will say the Japanese system is system against foreigners. And again, from what I know, France has allowed mass immigration to happen to the country, so it's not shocking when you have a lot of immigrants who come and do this nonsense. France is suffering from their own political policies. And I'm really scared for Japan because if Japan's cultural issues are not solved, the only option to, I guess, rescue Japan is to have mass immigration. But with mass immigration comes other people's cultures. And what if foreigners start feeling, hey, the Japanese system is don't like us, we'll start burning down Japan because we feel like they discriminate against non-Japanese people. It's just something to think about. Just think about the future of your country. Be patriotic, love your country, love being Japanese, support your country. Because if this doesn't change with Japan, I can see this happening in the future if some Japanese leader gets voted in office and allows massive immigration. You have people like this coming to Japan, and already, even with the tiny little immigration increase in Japan, you're already seeing a lot of problems. So imagine if there was a mass number of people coming to Japan. Japan would look completely different than it does right now. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. I hate what's happening in France. I feel for the French people. I think it's horrible. But, you know, this is because of the poor leadership of the government leaders, their horrible policies that are now affecting the French people. And of course, leftist media is going to turn this into a whole issue. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Honto, arigatou gozaimasu. Minna, 気をつけて。じゃあね。